Right, so let's get straight into it. And the first three that we're going to look at are our simple tenses, and they're called that because they're the ones that we use most and the easiest ones to spot. So three main tenses are past, present and future. So our past tense is something that happened previously, our present tense is something that's happening now, and our future tense is something that is going to happen. So simple one there. Let's go with walk. So remember with the tenses, we're looking at the verbs, okay? Because the verbs tell us, and we have to say when we did the verb. So we change the ending of the verb or change words before the verb in order to choose which tense we're writing in. So if we wanted to write in the simple past tense, we would say I walked. Okay, add that ed prefix, okay, tell us it's something that's happened, okay? So I walked means someone was walking previously. Okay, we could obviously have something like you walked. Okay, as long as we have that ed normally on the end, tell us it's previously happened. Okay, in the present would just be simply I walk. It's happening now. Okay, you walk. We don't have any prefix or anything. I see, I run. Okay, it's something that's happening now. Okay, in the future, we're going to talk about, if we talk about walk, we're talking about something that's going to happen in the future. So it would simply be something like I will walk. So it hasn't happened, it's not happening now, it's going to happen. We're doing you down here. So you will walk. Okay, that's the easiest way to spot the three tenses. Okay, so we've got the future, past and the present, simple ones there. So now let's move on to the past continuous and progressive. I've said continuous and progressive because different things, like different pieces of work or different schools, different places in the world, call them different things. Continuous and progressive basically mean the same thing. It means that they are happening, okay? And with this, the easiest way to spot them is normally we have our ing suffix on the end of our words. And I'll show you. So if we're in the past tense, it's something that's happened. So we would have something like I was walking. Okay. Now you see with this one as well, we can't just say, oh sorry, I put I again. We can't just say something like I walking. It doesn't make grammatical sense. Okay, so we have to include were there, our past tense of to do. Okay, so if you're doing something, were is the past tense. So it's the same with the present. So if we're saying it's happening now, we say I am walking. Okay, which is the present tense of our was. You were walking. Okay, and I've used there because I've used you in the plural sense there. And remember, when we're using plural, we have were in start of using more than one person. And the same with our future tense. It's more about our verb here. I will be walking. Just put it in there. You will be walking. Okay, so you can see there I had I will walk. Okay, when we've added our ing and we've had to include be there. Same here, I walk, we've had our ing, what means we have to add our am and were in here. And here we added our ing, but we've had to add was in. So easiest way to spot them if we're looking for them normally is looking for this ing. Okay, and because when we say we're walking, it means something we currently do it, not something that we've done or not something that we're about to do. It's currently happening or is going to be happening. So now we're going to look at the perfect forms of the verb. We've got the past, present and future. Now these ones can tend to be a little bit tricky for people to recognise, but the easy way to recognise them is sometimes people call them the have and the had forms of the tense, because they will always have or had in there depending on whether we're talking about past, present and future. Now they're called perfect because it means the action is completed, okay? So they're not currently walking or they haven't been walking or they're not walking now. The action has been completed, okay? So the action is perfect, it's been completed. And I'll show you why it's called the had and the have verb. Okay, so when we do past perfect, we put something like I have walked, or you have walked. And you can see clearly that we've got our haves there. So when we're talking I have worked, you have worked, it's past perfect. So it's the same as the simple past, but we just have a have or a had in. I walked, I have walked. Okay, so that's the difference between these two verbs, and that's something that you've just got to sort of really remember. When we talk about the present perfect, this one is a bit harder because this is where we use our had, okay, but we use our past tense form of the verb. I had walked, because we can't say I had walk, okay, which is easy if you're an English speaker. You can tell straight away that it's not I had walk, okay, but if you're not an English speaker, that can be a little bit harder, okay. So the difference between present perfect and past perfect is in present perfect we would use our had, and in our past perfect we would use have, and that's the only difference because we're still using the past tense of the verb. So that basically means in the present they're talking about I had finished, I had walked, I had saw. It's something that's sort of, that memory is being talked about now, so it's in the present, but it's still talking about something that's been completed in the past. So that's why present perfect and past perfect are really hard to tell the difference between, because it's only had or have. So you need to remember present perfect is had, past perfect is have. Okay? And with our future tense, we have our I will again to say, make sure it's happening in the future. But we use our have as well. I will have walked. You will have walked. Okay, again, we've got our haves. So as you can see there, we have our haves and our hads that help us recognise that it is the perfect tense. So those are the tenses that you need to look at and remember, being able to recognise, and it's just a way really of reminding yourself for the test, learn these ones, that this is the have or the had, okay? The only really way to remember them is our simple, is our obvious ones when we use them. Progressive or continuous, remember it's something that's happening or has happened, and it's about the progress of happening, so that's why we use our ing words. And then with our perfect, remember it's completed, so which one sounds like it's completed? If you remember the have and had, you're laughing. So I hope that helped with your work on tenses. Hope you found that video useful, guys, and if you have, please give it a thumbs up. Hit subscribe if you haven't already, you'll get notifications of any videos that I put up as and when I do. Please share it if you know anyone that will benefit from this and find it useful. And if you've got any questions or anything, comment or use the Twitter or the Facebook page. Till next time, see you later.